Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Vanessa. I'm from Beyond Your Sun Sign. This is your weekly tarot reading for each zodiac sign. And I don't know if it's because I missed last week, but there are like half the deck in these cards. So we're going to be here for a little bit. We're going to be talking. There's quite a few signs that have a lot going on. So this is for March 7th to March 14th, and we are starting off with Aries energy. So Aries, this week, you're going to be really realizing that a partnership, any type of connection that you have, it doesn't have to be, sexual, it doesn't have to be business, any partnership that you do have, it is karmic, right? It feels very, very deep, very almost like a test, like you can tell that there's a lesson there. So when you think about this person, it should be the first person you're thinking of, but I am seeing an M and an A, either in their first, middle, or last name. When you think about this person, an emotion's going to be enacted, right? You're going to feel some type of feeling, and that's natural, but we do have some colleagues or friends or acquaintances where we don't really have many feelings when we think about them. But for some person, this person with the M and the A, when you do think about them, an emotional response always tends to happen. And what that is your subconscious telling you that this is a karmic relationship. So it might be that they did this one thing, and if somebody else would have done that, you wouldn't have had as much of a reaction. But because they did it and you're like heated or, conflicted or upset, that is because it is karmic. It's something that has happened to you both before in a past life. So with that knowledge, what I recommend doing is trying to find a way to figure out what that past life connection is. So something as simple as saying that, putting out into the universe that the next movie that you watch with somebody in it that reminds you of this person with the M and the A, that will be part of the lesson. That story will be part of the lesson from a past life. So for instance, you go and see the new Batman and Catwoman reminds you so much of, this MA person, and you're realizing, at the end, I don't want to ruin it, but, at the end, that choice between having to stay or go, that's that past life karmic connection that you had with this person. So try and find a reason or a sign and like putting it out there in the universe saying the next thing that I see is to tell me what that past life connection is with this MA person, so I can stop having this emotional response that isn't even rooted in this timeline and is coming from past life. Clear it, and then you'll be clearing any karma with this person in this timeline. So this week doing that, and then having the ability to spiral out that relationship in a positive way the weeks going forward. It's an excellent time to be doing this during Pisces season, because Pisces season, the universe is speaking to us like we are on a one-way call directly with the universe in Pisces season, and it's speaking to us through our subconscious. Okay, if you are a Taurus, we have the Strength card, and there were quite a few cards that popped out over top of that. So cards popping out over top end up being the blocker. So it might be like, oh, I'm so strong, but it's like, okay, I see that person just won that fitness competition, but they sacrificed, and you didn't see, their daily vitamins and how much money they put into their diet and how much time they spent at the gym. So yeah, you have a lot of strength that's being called to attention this week, March 7th to March 14th. But this is everything that we don't see. This is everything that says, yeah, you're winning this competition for strength, but this is all the sacrifices that you've made, all of the strength training. And what it is that, lack of peace, right? Feeling incredibly pinned down by your thoughts because of a boredom or an apathy at home. So feeling so anxious and pinned down by your thoughts, spending time at home, really spending time at home because you're waiting for a sense of comfort and love and nourishment that you didn't get in your first home base. And first home base isn't necessarily your childhood home. It could also be your mother's womb. So maybe things going on with your mom while you were in her womb, and realizing that you have to make sacrifices coming from a masculine air energy. I almost said female because it is a female, but it is masculine because it's the King of Swords. So masculine air, Libra, Aquarius, Gemini. So what this is telling me is, Taurus, you're going to see that this week you have a lot of strength, and it's because, your strength training was all of the thoughts that had you pinned down, all of the stress that had weighed on you, and then brought into this boredom or apathy or just feeling stuck at home because you're looking for nourishment or a sense of love from your original home base, and now you're making all these sacrifices in based on a masculine air sign. So that's the reason why you're so strong, because you didn't have that natural home base with this masculine air sign. Could absolutely be an ex, could be a father figure, could be a grandfather. Sometimes it's even just, you know, your mom's, you know, lover, you know, or even like a stepfather. So that original home base, you've made a lot of sacrifices just searching for that original nourishment that you weren't getting. And now it's translated into a lot of strength that you're seeing this week. So if you feel like you're being tested and your strength is being tested, it's because you haven't found the source of the pain surrounding your home base. And Taurus energy really needs to feel secure. And that first sense of security, it can seem very simple that it's financial security. A lot of times it is just feeling secure within the self, because that second house that Taurus rules is not just money and valuables, it's also our self-esteem and our belief systems. So sometimes that home base, you know, when I was pregnant, I was being super cognizant of, you know, trying to work through mental health issues, not putting any stressors on to my head in order to funnel that into the baby. So maybe having that conversation with your mom, you know, or with your dad about what it was like when your parents were pregnant with you and what your environment was like, because now you're trying to find a way to heal that through this week. Okay. All right. If you are a Gemini, we've got a lot going on here. So it starts with the Sun card this week. So everything great, shiny, sunny, feeling really good and optimistic. And then we have this huge stack of cards that are blocking that. So, you know, feeling invested and secure enough to take a risk, but you are still heartbroken. And that's why you're thinking that maybe you should hoard your power and not take that financial risk. But you are also fearful of the judgment if you don't take the risk. So what that ends up doing is making you move on from something emotionally. And you're doing it kind of like in secret, like in the dark of night, like it's actually a way of avoiding something. So right now, sunny, happy, optimistic this week. And with that, you're like, okay, financially, I'm okay. Let me take a risk. Let me do something that's kind of risky, but there is still heartbreak surrounding a financial loss in the past where it's like, okay, hold on, let me hold on just a little bit longer because I don't want the judgment. So what you can do is look at a past situation in which you had the financial security to take some sort of risk and it didn't pan out the way that you wanted it to, and the judgment that you received not only from yourself but from others. That's really what you should be emotionally moving on from and saying, you know what, that was the past. I'm allowed to make mistakes and I can now take that careful, optimistic risk once again, as long as I move on from that fear of judgment that was enacted from the first time I made a financial decision, a financial risk when I was in a place of security. All right. If you are a Cancer, we have the High Priestess. So this week, it's really just about trusting your intuition. Like, enough said. What I would do is try intuitive eating just this week. You know, intuitive eating is incredible because it really requires you to tap into yourself, right? And when it comes to Cancer energy, nourishment and our diet, that basic health is important because that's the mothering. When you think about it growing up, like that mother archetype is one that's feeding us not just emotionally, but also cooking us meals. And that's why, you know, the mother archetype, whenever they cook for us, the ma and pa's, you taste that love, right? And it really just is, it's an energy, a vibration placed on the food. So this week, doing some intuitive eating, blessing your food will allow you to tap into your intuition a little bit harder, which is going to prepare you and prep you for the following weeks to come. But just this week, trying with the intuitive eating, when you see food, if it's talking to you, if you feel drawn to it, and not eating just because it's dinner time, not eating because the food's there, not continuing to eat because when you were younger, you got in trouble and you had to stay at the table until you were done eating every vegetable. Really just looking at the food, feeling the vibration on it, and then deciding to eat it. If you can tap into yourself, if you're salivating for it, if you're feeling hungry for it, but if it's just mechanic, you know, robotic, well, you know, I don't have time to cook, so let me go get this fast food. No, intuitive eating only this week, and watch how much that shifts your life. Okay, if you are a Leo, we've got the Devil card this week. So I'm wondering if you guys took that leap and got off the fence and made that decision that we were talking about a couple of weeks back. The Devil card is showing those negative attachments that we have within our lives out of comfort, right? Like a lot of the times we keep people in our lives just because they've been there for so long. And it's like, well, just because adjusted to the toxicity doesn't mean that you're thriving. It could be like a chronic slow death when it comes to the relationship. It might be time to just kind of take the venom out and release yourself, because it's just a level of comfort. That's why you're still in this connection with this negative attachment. And we say negative very easily, and it's not to say to point the finger at them and be like, you're the one, but negative is just really the opposite of positive, right? So if when you're with them, you're feeling low, you're feeling bored, you're feeling trapped, you have headaches, you're feeling restricted, you're not feeling love, you're not feeling heard or validated, there's no reason to point at the other person and say, you did this. Instead, it's time to look inward and be like, why am I still accepting this? So although you have the Devil card this week, Leo, we have these stack of cards over top, and they're like sandwiched, right? We have one that's, like, it's interesting how this is working. So one card is sandwiched between. So let's see what it is. We have the World card, and then the Eight of Pentacles is sandwiched between the World card and then the Five of Wands. So it ends up being like this, right? So our blockers are the fact that we have the world at our fingertips and we still have anxiety. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, everything's going great. Why do I feel so anxious? Why do I feel not right? And it's because of this energy right here, the Eight of Pentacles, because you've worked so hard and you never stop to congratulate yourself. So now, like, Leo energy, point blank, needs praises. Okay, there's no shame in that. You haven't, when you think about the Leo energy and it comes to like being that actor, being that star, being on stage, would an actor be doing what they're doing if they weren't getting the applause, if they weren't getting the standing ovation? That's the validation for their art. That's somebody saying, your art has moved me. So Leo, you've lost your audience. You've lost your motivation. You've lost your round of applause, your standing ovation, which is unfortunate because you've earned it. You've worked so hard that it's like you should be celebrated. You should be praised for your accomplishments. And what's happening is you've now kind of sandwiched all of that into your anxiety and conflict and the fact that you have everything that you need, right? So it's like, okay, I have everything that I need. Why do I still feel so conflicted? And it's because you haven't stopped to give yourself that pat on the back. Instead, you're looking for that applause from your audience, right? But at the end of the day, it's all about whether or not you even feel worthy for receiving that praise, right? So doing positive affirmations, saying that you are loved, you are worthy, it will shift that energy. But it's time to stop looking at the other for your praises and instead go inward and say, actually, I know that I killed that. I know that I've done well. I don't necessarily need the standing ovation because I'm giving myself a pat on the back. I'm giving myself my own Oscar, my own awards. So maybe this week, taking the time to compliment yourself, praise yourself, and doing something that congratulates your accomplishments, because I don't think you've stopped to do that, right? And you have a lot to be very, very proud of that you've accomplished 100%. All right, if you are a Virgo, we have the Three of Cups, and this was the only card that popped out and fell down. I had to catch it between my knees. Knees represent hating something. So it tells me that the fact that I caught this card between my knees, there is something that you're hating doing, point blank. You are hating doing it. And this card actually came out reverse. So what you're doing, because you're hating what you're doing, is drowning your sorrows in alcohol or escapism. And escapism is not necessarily alcohol, but it could be anything that you know is not conducive to a healthy lifestyle. Virgo energy is incredibly healthy. That is your purpose, is to be the pinnacle of health. And when you're doing things that you know are toxic or poisonous and you're willingly putting it into your body, my Virgo mom smokes cigarettes. I'm always just like, you're a Virgo. Like, you're a Virgo. You health is so important to you. Like, you're taking 20 vitamins a day and then going to have a cigarette. Like, I don't get it. So it really just is because you're hating what you're doing. So it's like, okay, I'm hating what I'm doing. So let me punish myself by knowingly putting something in my body that could even just be a thought pattern, could even just be self-talk, could be anything, right? Even the toothpaste that we use can have toxins in it that a Virgo would just turn around and be like, oh, let me Google that. Let me research that. Let me analyze that. So this week, really searching for the ways that you poison yourself, whether it is through external substances or through negative self-talk. Look for the ways that you poison yourself and find the root cause as to what you're really hating about your life that you're trying to essentially poison out of you, right? So if you need help, you know where to reach me, okay? And sometimes it really is just being honest with yourself, and the first thought that you have when I say you're hating what you're doing, if it's, oh God, yeah, I hate getting up and going to work in the morning, or oh yeah, God, I hate, you know, anything, having to pay this bill that I don't even use, things like that. Just using this week to look around and say, okay, where have I been hating things and now distracting myself with other toxicities as a way of making up for having to do what I have to do. Okay, if you are a Libra, we've got some good news for you this week. It is time to make a plan about where your finances are going, because money is like right here. Money wants to come to you. Money is like, Libra, where are you at? Please let me come to you. And what it wants you to do is just feel worthy enough of receiving that money. So it's there, it's floating around. If you don't grab it, it'll go somewhere else. So just allowing yourself to accept that money. And the way you do that is by making a financial plan, making a budget. How can you allow money to come into your life? Which way, which avenues, which outlets can money even come in, right? So for instance, I'm a Libra and I love to donate, right? Like I literally will donate things with tags on it, but I'm like, oh my God, I can still donate this in a way while also receiving abundance back. So instead, I'm going to donate it to my friend who I know will then, you know, has already given me coffees and stuff like that. Or I'm going to donate it to, you know, a website that I know will give me like 1%, a small percent back, but, and then gives it to people who at a very marginal cost, right? So finding ways where we've already are doing something that can receive money back, but we've blocked ourselves from doing it. Right? Like I use clothing as that motivator because I know that Libra energy usually does have amazing taste. So something that you've outgrown or that you don't like anymore is somebody else being like, oh, I wish, you know, and sometimes it's even just having information, you know, if you're noticing that people are always asking you about, hey, how do you do your makeup like that? And it's like, people are always asking me how I do that. Why don't I just make a quick video for YouTube? You get paid for that if you just make it consistent. Right? So finding something that you're already doing and making a plan on how to make money off of that. And you'd be surprised, right? You'd be totally surprised how people make money these days. Something that you have been doing for free, relationship advice, financial advice, love advice, anything can be turned into a service. And it's time to make a plan on how to monetize what you're already doing. If you need help, you know where to reach me. All right, for Scorpio energy, this week it is saying it is time to emotionally move on from something. The bridge in order to move on has been built and it is time for you to walk over it. However, you will be walking over it alone, okay? And that's probably gonna be the hardest thing because when a Scorpio connects to somebody, they connect. Like that is a full-hearted latch on. This moving on experience that you're gonna be going through this week, you definitely have to do it alone to remind yourself that you don't need anybody else. So it is a transformation in the way that you have a lot of magic and a lot of luck this week. And you know firsthand that when something is beautiful and magic and pure, it can be abused, right? It can be used up. It could be used against you. The brightest light can still create shade in other areas. So what this week is asking you to do is recognizing that you have something very, very beautiful, very magical, and it's time to move forward with that knowingness, but it has to be a secret right now. And Scorpio loves secrets. You guys rule secrets, so it's okay. This has to be a secret. And sometimes a secret really just is that you've moved on. You know, you don't need to tell people that you're done there. You know, they'll just see it. So you have something very beautiful this week that you will see it. It's magical, it's beautiful, it's pure, and it's all yours. Don't be so quick to allow people in. Evil eye exists. I literally just witnessed it firsthand, and I only had myself to blame. And it works both ways. That evil eye, when you put it on somebody else, it comes back times 10. It comes back times 10. Even recognizing evil eye being put on you is important to recognize, right? To be like, okay, why am I receiving negative energy? What am I putting out there that could even possibly be getting it back, right? Okay, if you are a Sagittarius, this week is the Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands, your foundation is crumbling, essentially. Like, what are you fighting for? What is something that makes you feel fundamentally secure? This week, you have to really question the who, the what, the where, the whys that make you feel secure, and then allow everything else to drop, because things are trying to drop, but you keep fighting for them and saying, no, let me just, as soon as you see it slowly moving out of your awareness, you then bring your awareness back to pull it back in. It's like, well, if it was already fading out of your awareness, why pull it back in? It's like you're actively trying to pull it back in when it's trying to release itself. Your foundation is falling apart in order for something new and better to come. So allow it to fall apart, right? Allow it to just drop away. A lot of the times it is based on your immediate environment, just because you're exactly opposite Gemini, which rules your immediate environment. So if you're finding something as simple as, oh, I can't find my favorite hoodie, let it drop away. Let the memories attached to that drop away. Things like that. You lost your crystal, let it drop away. Looking this week at the things that are starting to disappear and dissipate out of your life, and then just making note of it, being like, okay, well, if this is dropped away, my favorite hoodie that I got from an ex, then obviously the energy attached to that ex is starting to drop away as well. I'm not going to hoard it. I'm not going to pull it back in. I'm not going to frantically search for it. I'm going to take it as a sign that it is slowly dissipating out of my life, out of my awareness, and creating space for something new to come in. Okay, so next up we have Capricorn, and this is a lot here. So right now, as of this week, it really just comes down to support system, okay? Having support, looking for support, finding victory within your support as well, and recognizing that you are different. You're not so different that there's nobody else like you. Like, you definitely have a community, but there is something about you that is a little bit unique, a little bit different. And I really think that it is based on the path that you're moving in life. So the path with Capricorn energy, it ends up being like a Benjamin Button, where Capricorn energy kind of is super serious young. And then as they age, they loosen up a little bit. They have more fun. They're a little bit more free. So that is your uniqueness, and the fact that the older you get, the younger that you're feeling. Even if the knees are saying different, the older you get, the younger in your mind you are feeling. And that's such a positive thing, because youth is wasted on the young, right? So over this week, you're going to start to see that your youth is coming back to you, and that is your true support system. That is what's making you feel more innovative, more free, and giving you more ability to walk forward in life. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards that popped out over top as your blocker to that support system. And it's your transformation, because you've been feeling emotionally content, to now give birth to something that you want to invest in, which will create a new beginning with a young water sign that you're going to have to just learn to trust. Okay. And that will be how you recognize that support system. Connecting to that young water sign is why you are recognizing how unique you are, because you're drawing in that young, romantic, intuitive energy. And you're just going to have to trust them, even though they might have done something in the past to break that trust. Now's the time to just say, okay, I'm ready to trust again because I've gone through a major transformation. I'm happy now that I can create and invest in a new beginning with this young water sign, even though they might have done something in the past to hurt me, because that really was a supporting system in your life, even if it may not seem like it right now. Whew. All right, if you are an Aquarius, we have the Two of Cups this week. So this week, it's a huge focus on your partnerships and your relationships. When it comes to Aquarian energy, you've been bracketed, essentially. So when I say bracketed, I mean, you've kind of been a little bit of an afterthought, where it's like, when you think about a bracket, it's providing more information for one sentence. So for you, you're that more information for one particular situation that's happening this week. So people have been kind of like sleeping on you, forgetting about you, putting you in brackets, putting you in boxes. And it's like, well, this situation would not even exist if it wasn't for me. So it's time for you to start giving me more credit. And it's looking at that partnership where you're not getting the credit that is required. And it's not even saying that you need praises and attention and credit, but it's more so about saying, stop putting me in a bracket when you know that I'm worth more than that. So you're not allowed to use all of my inspiration and my innovation and my ideas and my logic, and then not say, you know, going forward, that I had an active part in what you've accomplished within this partnership. So it's about now speaking your truth and saying, okay, I've never called my pride to the forefront. You're exactly opposite Leo, which is very quick to be like, hey, you know, I did this, give me my kudos. You're okay with being like, all right, I'll take a seat back, just as long as the innovation is worthy and helps humanity. You're okay taking a step back. But for this particular partnership just this week, it is time to step up to your pride and say, hey, 1 second, how dare you? You know, how dare you? I created that. I said that. I helped you figure that one out. Can we just honor that for a second? That I told you so? There's no shame in that, right? Like, you deserve it within this partnership, because they need to realize the influence that you have over them and the situations in their lives. Okay, just this week. Okay, Pisces energy. Pisces, you guys started with just the Page of Wands, the Page of Wands being a message coming in, and I asked for clarification, and it is the Justice card. So this could be a legal battle that, you know, that you've been dealing with for a while, that's now finally coming in, a message received coming in surrounding it. It could be even just like karmic justice as well. So not actual like legal justice, but just karma coming back. And the cards that popped out over top, blocking this energy, is divine intervention that really made you realize that conflict in the past with a young water sign was deceptive, but allowed you to have more decisions and more opportunities. So when it comes to the message coming in, it is karmic, it is legal, it is something that is trying to balance itself when it comes to justice. And it's based on a divine intervention in the past that really made you open your eyes to conflict with a young water sign who deceived you, but also gave you more opportunities in the long run. Okay. Hope you understand what that means, but keep an eye out on your messaging systems this week, because it is karmic. So if a message comes in and it's like, that's not fair, that's how you know actually it is fair, but you're just not seeing everything that you're not supposed to be seeing right now behind the scenes. Okay, so that is your weekly tarot reading for each zodiac sign. And as always, if you would like to connect for a personalized reading, you can find me on Instagram. I'm at Beyond Your Sun Sign, or you can find my details below in the description box. I hope you guys have an amazing week, and I will see you next week. Bye.